we share a recent resolution of the Board of Directors of the Benguet Electric Cooperative led by President Nick Aliping relative to the urgent need to stop the issuance of water rights and permits to private firms to develop mini hydros that would leave the region with nothing to anchor its development should Cordillera autonomy be pursued. A resolution requesting the Cordillera Regional Development Council to request the Department of Energy and the National Water Resources Board to issue a moratorium on the issuance of permits for hydroelectric plant projects and water rights in the Cordillera without prior knowledge and consent of the Cordillera Regional Development Council and the would-be host communities, municipalities, and provinces. Whereas, the National Water Resources Board has been issuing water rights over portions of rivers in the Cordillera without prior knowledge and consent of the region and the communities hosting these water resources. Whereas, in the same token, the Department of Energy has been issuing permits for the construction of hydroelectric dams in the Cordillera using water rights without prior knowledge and consent of the region and the communities hosting these water resource. Whereas, curiously, the informed prior rights consultations with the host communities are done only after the permit to develop and the water rights have been issued in a cart before the horse scenario. Whereas, the proliferation of water rights and hydroelectric power development permits in the Cordillera has led to the depletion of resources that the region, on its own, can eventually tap and develop for its own growth, likewise. Whereas, the proliferation of water rights and hydroelectric plant development by and for giant and even foreign-led companies continues to be an irritant between them and residents of host communities who are often the last to know that their water resources have become the subject of water rights of outsiders out to develop them into hydroelectric facilities. Whereas, the debilitating impact of these would be deeply felt should the region succeed in its quest for autonomy or self-rule, as there would be no more water resources it can develop to spur its own progress, as these have been assigned to private companies. Whereas, the idea and viability for the region to own hydroelectric plant for its own development through grant support has already been shown in Ifugeo province, where the G7 countries commissioned Japan as a member in developing the Mbangal mini hydro in Kyangan town and then turning this over to the municipal government, with the condition that part of the income generation from its operation shall be used for the restoration and protection of the rice terraces in Kyangan, Maoeo, Bana, and Hungduan owns where the most extensive terraces are found. Likewise, the Japan International Development Agency has financed and is now constructing a bigger hydroelectric dam in Ifugeo, which shall be turned over to the province once completed. Whereas, the potential of the region in obtaining support through fund grants to develop hydroelectric plants would dramatically improve should the Cordillera become an autonomous region, with hydroelectricity development becoming a crucial driver in the region's development and providing substance to autonomy.